That would probably be a question for the clerk. I've had that issue myself in the past.
Greetings. Thank you, folks. We're live now, okay? All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Brentwood. Welcome to this public meeting on December 2nd, 2025. We're here for a public hearing to look at two proposed ordinances, one on dealing with the town seal and the other one on updating our urban tree ordinance. Before we get too awfully started, I would like to ask the town clerk to go ahead and call the roll.
Councilmember Glenn Harris Jr. Saw him in here, but I'll come back to him. Councilmember.
I'm present. My apologies.
There you go. Councilmember Juan Alomia.
Present.
Councilmember Julia Elrod.
Present.
Vice Mayor Jerry Bird.
Present, ready to serve.
Mayor Citamina Lopez.
She is absent at the moment, may be able to join later.
Okay. Town Administrator Shelley Dorsey.
Present.
Police Chief Anthony Ayers. Okay. Interim Town Treasurer Shelley Dorsey, Washington.
Present.
Town Clerk Larry Moran, present. And lastly, Town Attorney Jason DeLoach.
I expect he'll join us at the 7 o'clock meeting.
Correct.
Thank you very much. We need an approval of the agenda. If someone can give me a motion, please.
I move to approve the agenda for the public hearing of the Mayor and Town Council on Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025 at 6:37 p.m.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you so much. Any additions to the agenda that I'm unaware of or that we need to modify for the public hearing only? All right, I'll take that as a no, and the agenda is approved. Clerk, do we have any public comments that were emailed in to us?
I do have one email comment, and then I know there's a few residents. Do you want me to start off with the email comment first?
Let's go ahead and start with that, please, and then we'll go into those who are live.
Okay. This email comes from Sarah on Barnum Street. Hi there. First, a question. What is Brentwood's current tree covering percentage? How close does it come to meeting state and county objectives? Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the work you do for our town. I am so glad that the tree ordinance is being put forward, and I urge you all to pass it. I have attended meetings of the committee working toward this ordinance, but I had no part in researching or crafting it. I am so thankful to those people who worked on it. To me, the potential to replace lost trees and new ones is important in the summer. I find it unpleasant to walk in the heat in Brentwood as compared with my experience in places such as Mount Rainier and Tacoma Park, where it's easier to find shade and a breeze. My physical and mental health is improved with the presence of mature trees. Trees are also vitally important for property value enhancement, stormwater and flood management, and biodiversity. Thus, trees are a public good and they should be covered in our law, just as our behavior regarding water, air, roads, and other things are covered. What we do with trees on private property affects other people. I see that this ordinance mentions assisting residents with challenges that can be posed by the presence of large trees. I'm glad about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clerk. Ms. Pregon, I can answer your first question if you like, though it's quite a long answer. You can find online estimates of Brentwood's canopy, but I took some time to go ahead and calculate it myself using about, I don't know, 4 or 5 different methods, which I'm happy to go over at any time, and also looked at historical photography. And we have went from the teens, single percent numbers, back in the 90s and early 2000s. And depending on what data set and which algorithms that you use to calculate it, we're somewhere in the mid 30s at the moment. And that is well below county expectations, which is above 50. So if you'd like to talk about more at that, then please let me know and I'll bring my computer and we can calculate away. Thank you, Clerk. Let's have public comments from those who are online. It would be helpful perhaps if you could raise your hand, or I could just perhaps call out names if I just know who wants to make a comment and who's just listening. Okay, great. I see several hands. Lovely. Thank you so much. I'm just going to go in order as they are on my screen, and I'm getting old and have trouble seeing. So let's see. Looks like Brina is the first one. So Brina, feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself and tell us what your comments are.
Sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Brenna Dames. I live on 40th Place in Brentwood. And I just wanted to pop into this meeting and make a quick note. I saw the information posted in the Lamplighter as well as on Instagram about the quick build potential about turning Volta into a one-way street going up onto Rhode Island Avenue. I personally, as someone who lives on 40th Place and then also knowing 40th Street would also be directly hit by this. For those who don't know, our streets are one ways. So currently I enter my street onto Volta. It is a one way going that direction towards Utah. So making Volta a one way going up towards Rhode Island Avenue would not allow me to access my house in an easy way. Same thing with 40th Street. This is how I get to my house from Rhode Island Avenue. I'm obviously able to use a light at the Rhode Island Avenue Volta stop. With whatever is going to happen with Utah, there's not a light that's at Utah, so it makes the turn a little trickier. And then having to go all the way around is going to add at least an extra 5 minutes in order for me and my fellow neighbors to get to my house. Those are concerns that I have, as well as traffic backup. I already know that Volta does get pretty backed up during your typical rush hours going outside of the neighborhood, outside of town, just due to the fact that the light's there. The light is pretty short, especially if you don't have the pedestrian signal going. It's pretty short. So I just wanted to raise awareness to this for folks who don't live in this section of town, that it's going to be really tough for us to get to our house, and especially with depending on what happens with the traffic pattern with Utah, that will make it even tougher. And I wasn't really aware. I've been following the Safe Streets Committee. I took the survey myself. I obviously very much care about safe streets in this town. I am a pedestrian in this town. I used to walk my dog a lot, but now I don't anymore because of loose dogs that have in the neighborhood, but I walk myself a lot. So I'm very much wanting some attention to it. I think that the calmers, like the things that, sorry, 2 minutes, and I'm coming up quickly, but I think the calming members, things that have happened on the street have helped a lot in reducing speed limit. And so I just wanted to bring this to folks' attention. And I wasn't aware of this. I don't think my neighbors are aware of this. So just a little bit concerned about this. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's with a lot of gratitude that you gave that public comment. I know I've taken notes. I know that you also met with our town administrator recently, and you're also probably aware that there's another meeting tomorrow, I think at 9 o'clock. And if you'd like to be involved or engaged with that, that would be lovely. Okay, thank you so much. Really appreciate your points. Resident LA has their hand up. I'm not sure who that is.
Hi, this is Lauren from Varnum Street.
Okay.
Just a few people have reached out to me trying to access the Zoom meeting. Is there a way that they can access without downloading Zoom? So folks are trying to get in and they can't right now.
No, I think they are going to have some kind of Zoom account. And just really quickly, why that's happened, we have been twice in the past year Zoom bombed in a very unpleasant, extremely unpleasant way. And so this was just one of the ways that we were able to add just a little bit tighter control, although I'm really sorry that any resident's having a challenge getting online. Maybe if they can communicate with the town clerk, he can give them a little bit of help, or maybe possibly they can email in a comment and we can get it read.
Oh, Oh,
And-
thank you for that, Vice Mayor. Sorry, I was muted and unmuted. Uh, appreciate that very much. If I may make a suggestion then that on the town agenda, maybe that could be added that, we have the great link there that says, hey, you can join this link. Maybe it could be added like before you join, you need to have a Zoom account. That might be helpful for people. Thank you.
Lovely, and that is noted, and I'm sure the clerk is also taking note of that as well. We'll get that taken care of. For general public comments, and then we'll maybe go through an overview of both of these ordinances. Stefan Legan, yes, please unmute yourself and give us your thoughts.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Can you hear me? So I'm not really here to discuss the pros and cons of the tree ordinance. More specifically, I'm here to speak directly to the mayor and council about what they are choosing to communicate loudly and what they're choosing to communicate quietly. Because there's definitely some things that we communicate loudly, right? Like Christmas with Santa or Brentwood Day. But then there are those things that are really just as important, if not more so, that sort of get tiptoed around or swept under the rug. And I think this ordinance, this tree ordinance, is a great example of quiet communication. Sure, we spoke about it at the last meeting, and it's available to review on the website if you really dig around. But overall, no one really knew about it before today, or at least no one who didn't work on the ordinance or might be opposed to its passage. And trust me, I understand the temptation to sit behind that desk and say, well, we've talked about it and it's on the website, folks should know. But if we really believed that, okay, if we really thought that was enough, we would have never hired a communication specialist, right? And I don't think our communication specialist has even once posted a meeting agenda or a proposed ordinance or even notification about a hearing. And it's not her fault. She's taking direction from town leadership. But even today, the town posted 3 things on social media: holiday programming, a local food drive, and WSSC. But what was conspicuously missing from the communication from the town today? Today's hearing. Why is that? Why does the mayor and council communicate so quietly about pending legislation and consequential decision making? Why are we not making the legislative work of this body as transparent and as accessible as Christmas with Santa? If we're afraid of disagreements and difficult conversations, then we are afraid of the very thing that can make small town government great. And so my pitch today is that I'm asking this body to schedule an additional hearing and to use that time in between now and then to educate the public about this ordinance before taking a vote. Basically, I'm saying get back to basics and engage meaningfully in an open and honest way about all the issues, even the ones that are hard to talk about. It is the work that you were elected to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Legan. I really appreciate that. Some good salient comments, and I appreciate the sentiment behind them. Thank you, sincerely. I see no other hands, so let me go ahead and maybe move into a little overview of both of these proposed ordinances that we have a hearing for. We have 2. One of them deals with the use of the seal, and I'm already getting a little bit tired of talking. So could I ask someone else to address the language of the seal? And then I do see your hand, Councilmember Elrod. Just one moment. Ms. Dorsey Washington, would you like to handle the seal?
Yes, and we actually need to do a second reading, so I will read the ordinance. I'll try to read it really quickly.
Okay, and before you do so, just so I'm not ignoring everybody, can I pause for a moment and ask Councilmember Elrod, who had her hand raised, if she had a comment as well?
Yes.
Councilmember Elrod.
Thank you. I just wanted to alert that there was one more person who I believe was trying to make a public comment, said that they weren't able to figure out how to raise the hand in the app, but was visibly raising their hand. So Jane Henderson.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We'll pause here for a moment. And Ms. Henderson, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you. I appreciate, sorry, I think it's one of the business Zoom flukes that sometimes I can't raise my hand. But I just wanted to say, I know the specifics are going to be laid out and maybe there'll be subsequent comment, but I'm here to like strongly support that Brentwood move to put in place some kind of tree ordinance. I particularly wanted to address, I live at 3500 Upshur Street. We have lost several large trees on my block just in the last 5 years. Some to storms, some to swimming pools, quite frankly. And I'm concerned that, and I one huge elm that we had to take down because it was dying. And I'm just concerned that we're losing our old tree canopy. And it takes a really long time for those trees to regrow. And so I hope that there's some real focus put on trying to preserve as many of our large trees as possible. And I'll stop there.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Henderson. Okay. And I will say after we go over the ordinances, we can also take additional public comments as well. So it's not like all or nothing at the beginning. Apologies, Ms. Dorsey Washington. It's all you now.
Okay, no worries. Everyone can hear me. Good evening, everyone. Town of Brentwood Ordinance 2025-17, ordinance of the Town of Brentwood, Maryland, regulating the use of the official town seal and logo. Whereas the Town of Brentwood seeks to protect integrity and official use of its seal and logo, and whereas misuse of the town seal or logo may misrepresent official positions and imply endorsements. In Section 1, now therefore be it ordained by the mayor and town council of Brentwood, Maryland, the code is hereby amended to add Chapter 4, Town Seal and Logo, as follows. Chapter 4, Town Seal and Logo, definitions. Town seal means official insignia adopted by the town for identification of official documentation. Town logo shall refer to the visual design or branding image used in town communications and promotional material. 4.2, ownership and control of the town seal and logo are the intellectual property of the town of Brentwood. All rights are reserved. Permitted use, the town seal and logo may be used subject to the terms herein by town officials, employees, and contractors for official purposes on town property, publications, uniforms, digital platforms. Prohibited uses, the seal and logo may not be used for commercial purposes without prior written approval, and any political campaign material in any way that suggests town endorsements of private products, services, or opinions in a manner that alters the design or misrepresents the town. Commercial use application, a person or entity seeking to use the seal or logo for non-official or commercial purposes shall submit a written request for approval at least 15 days before the intended use to the town administrator or town clerk, which shall include purpose of the use, duration and median of use, sample of mock-up of the actual intended use. Approval is at the sole discretion of the town council and may include conditions or fees. All requests will come before the council in an open meeting for consideration and approval. Enforcement and penalties. Unauthorized use may result in cease and desist order, civil fines up to $500 per violation, legal action to recover damages, written warnings, referral to the Maryland State Ethics Commission, if applicable, misdemeanor punishable by jail time. The town shall be entitled to collect any and all attorney fees, any costs associated with any enforcement under this section. Section 2, and be it further ordained that the ordinance shall take effect 30 days from the date of its adoption. Section 3, be it further ordained that a fair summary of this ordinance shall forthwith be published in a newspaper having general circulation in the town and otherwise be made available to the public. Section 4, and be it further ordained that if any section, subsection, provision, sentence, clause, phrase, or word of this ordinance is for any reason held to be illegal or otherwise invalid by any court or competent jurisdiction, such invalidity shall be severable and shall not affect or impair any remaining section, subsection, provision, sentence, clause, phrase, or word included within the ordinance. It being the intent of the town that the remainder of the ordinance shall be and shall remain in full force and effect, valid, and enforceable. Effective This ordinance shall take effect 30 days after passage in accordance with applicable law. That completes the reading of ordinance 2025-17, an ordinance regulating the use of the town seal and logo.
Thank you, Ms. Dorsey Washington. I think I'll give a quick overview of the second proposed ordinance we're talking about tonight, and then we'll listen to some more public comments, okay? All right. This proposed ordinance is 2025-18. I want to thank a whole host of people associated with the Greater Green Team, former legislators like Councilmember Rauch and others. And I'd also like to note that Councilmember Arango Mion and I have officially kind of brought forth this legislation, building upon the work of the others. We first started talking about it, I guess, 5 meetings ago. And I did a full public reading last meeting, which was over 40 minutes long. I want to be clear, it takes a long time to read this. And so with approval from our town attorney, I'm going to give a summation of each section tonight rather than read the entire thing for 40 minutes. So it's proposed ordinance 2025-18. And it amends a previous ordinance that was put together in the 90s, and it's chapter 283 in our code. So I'll go by each section just to give a quick overview of what they do. The full document, of course, is posted online for your viewing. So sections 283-1 does a few things. It expands on the purpose and intent. It adds some definitions. It establishes some different roles concerning public and some private property trees. Its goals, just really quickly, is to further protect our public trees and create some protected zones around them in and around the town of Brentwood. One of the crucial kind of underpinnings of that section is that it deals with any tree on public or any public tree or any tree on private property that is 9 inches in diameter at about 4.5 feet off the ground, right? So at about chest level for most folks. And so any tree that's on a public tree, like in Bartlett Park, for example, or in private property, if it's 9 inches in diameter, will be considered a protected tree with a few caveats, such as we're not including invasive species and things like that. And a tree's protected if it's been planted by any government organization, government program, government funding, etc. So those are kind of the ground rules set out in section 283, 1, 2, and 3. And then section 4 deals with establishing public property authorities and responsibilities. Like it talks about how the town has to coordinate with the tree committee. The tree committee has a strong voice in this ordinance and how it interplays with other departments. It establishes what I think is a really, really neat component of the proposed ordinance is an urban tree management plan. The town administrator has kind of the official role of getting that done, but it's done with the work with the cooperation of the residents, specifically the tree committee or the Greater Green Team. And it needs to adhere to various other laws like the Maryland roadside tree law, etc. Section 283-6, I think, is the next one I want to deal with. It establishes regulations for how trees can be cut or pruned or maintenance or removed. It deals with how the public utilities folks have to deal with trees. So it puts the regulations on those. Section 283-7 says that trees covered in the earlier section, I know it's a little confusing, but that means protected trees. Those protected trees are not to be harmed. That's really the gist of it. So no individual, no business, no new construction, no developer shall perform large-scale cutting or pruning of trees. that are protected. Now, there's a little caveat there that seems a little obtuse at first, but it's you can prune and trim your tree, but you can't take out live limbs that are equal to or greater than a third of the diameter of the tree. I'm just going to pause for a second and try to explain that. Let's say we had a 60-inch diameter tree, then you would be required to get a permit to cut something that would be 30 inches in diameter, for example. So a really big limb off of that. So we're protecting those really large, mature trees. That 9 inches in diameter, by the way, is what the Maryland forestry folks, they would consider a mature tree. That's where that number comes from. Section 283-8 deals with a permit application process. And let's say you want to deal with the town. An application be sent to the town. It might have the town map, proposed tree activities, and that application has to be taken up at the next council meeting. It can't be put and tabled or anything like that. And there might be some potential tree replacement requirements for that permitted approval. Now, what are the requirements for dealing with an application, a permit application? Those are set out in 283-9, and that's the criteria for evaluating them. And it's fairly straightforward. It looks at the condition, any hazards that the tree might pose. Maybe a tree's just simply getting old and is posing a hazard to someone's home, for example. Is it a tree of special note, meaning is it some kind of landmark tree or specimen tree or one of the giant trees that the state recognizes? Is there a stormwater or erosion management issue? Is there something to deal with property values? Or is there some kind of hardship being imposed by the tree? So those are all the criteria for dealing with the permit process. Sorry to be taking so long. 283-11 talks about all the removed, destroys, or relocated trees. We don't want any of those, but if it happens, what the replacement process is. And so there's a table in the ordinance that talks about the tree replacement requirements. And those are to meet the urban tree management plan. They have to be planted within 12 months of some removal. They need to be, if you plant a tree, you got to take care of it. So it has to be monitored for a couple of years to make sure it survives. And we're not going to allow plantings in like temporary containers or plots as a substitute for an unfortunate removal of a larger tree. 283-12 talks about the really unique part of this plan. And again, kudos to those who worked hard on it the last couple of years. It's the Urban Canopy Fund, and any fees that might arise from permits or wanton destruction associated with this ordinance can go into this fund, which can serve as like a recompense payments, can deal with deposits into this fund, can be used to help folks who may need additional financial resources to deal with replanting of trees that need to be replanted. Section 283-12 establishes that the funds are effectively dispersed and how they're going to be dealt with. And then 283-13 talks about an appeals process. Let's say you apply for a permit, for some reason you're denied, there's still an appeals process that you can deal with. And 283-14, that's the last one. It deals with enforcements, violations, and penalties. It should be noted that any of the actual monetary fines associated with this are not part of the ordinance at the moment. They will be passed by, if the ordinance is approved, they will be passed later on down the line by the mayor and council and also be subject to public comment, etc. So sorry for the overly long comment, but and I know we're running into our regular meeting, but that's okay. If anyone has additional public comments now, we will be more than happy to hear them. I have my pen ready to listen. Just raise your hand so that we can acknowledge you. Meg, please unmute yourself and talk to us.
Hi there. Good evening. So My name is Meg Bacco, and I'm the Executive Director of Anacostia Trails Heritage Area. And I was hoping to share a little update about our organization and projects we're working on and ways we might be able to collaborate. So it does seem, I'm glad the public comment is still open, but I am happy to keep it even briefer than I was planning. But if anybody can advise me on that.
Sure, I'm happy to really quick. We normally have a 2-minute comment period, and that's for some obvious reasons. If I'm given a comment, I could go on for 20 minutes, so somebody has to stop me. But we'd be happy to hear what you have to say in that 2 minutes, and we'd be happy to dialogue in the future as well. And that goes for any resident. Yeah.
Okay. I have a 4-slide presentation just so you're not looking at me. Is that okay?
Yeah. Look, can I just jump in real quick? Megan,
Yes,
this
please,
is Shelley, the town administrator. So you're currently in the hearing, and not our regular,
okay.
not our work session. So Vice Mayor, she's scheduled to present in the work session.
Okay. All right. Then we'll postpone that one then. Very good.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm here in the wings. Just let me know. Thank
Yeah,
you.
hang on
You're
for about
welcome.
15 minutes and we should be in the other meeting. Any other individuals who would like to comment at this point on the 2 ordinances? Okay. If we missed anyone, we're about to adjourn this meeting and we'll go into our regular working session. And if you think of a comment at that point, please bring it forth. If you can't get it off your tongue right now, please email the clerk, the town clerk, and they'll be more than happy to enter it into the record. And I've already got a whole page of notes here from tonight, and we'll put those to work. All right. With that, could I have a motion to adjourn this public hearing of those 2 ordinances? Don't be bashful.
Councilmember Mian, I think you're trying to make the motion, but you're muted.
We all have that challenge. Councilmember Elrod, will you take over them while he's working it out?
Sure. I move to adjourn this public hearing of the mayor and town council on Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025 at 7:07 p.m.
All right. May I have a quick
I
second?
second.
Great. Thank you so much. Then we'll adjourn this meeting, and Brentwood, we'll see you at the next meeting in just a few moments. Take care, everyone.